We did not know what to expect from Vienna. We were expecting beautiful architecture, amazing cake, lots of beer, and of course for it to be very, very expensive. We packed so much into our 4 days in Vienna. So today I am taking you through some of the free things that you can do in Vienna, some of the things that are worth spending your money on, the places we ate, the best way to get around Austria's stunning capital, and how much it all cost. Let's start with my favourite thing about any trip that I go on, stuff to eat. When you Google things to eat in Vienna, you are definitely going to come across Sacher Torte. It's a kind of chocolate layered cake. It's something that I was really excited to try. It looks like a bit of a patisserie style cake. Hotel Sacher and a couple of other places claim to be the original place that Sacher Torte was created, but everything I read online said that these were absolute tourist traps. So I did some digging and I found this blog, blueeyedcompass.com, where they suggested going to Kleiner's Café or Café Spurl. Guys, there is nothing worse than disappointing cake, and that was disappointing. I would honestly say do not waste your money on Sacher Torte. Café Spurl is apparently a bit more authentic and less of a tourist trap, but something about those desserts felt very touristy to me, and I do not understand why they don't serve the apple strudel warm with custard or ice cream. Anyway, let's move on to a cafe that I was actually really impressed with. Café Tiroler Hof. This is one that we just stumbled across while we were doing other things, but I did get a picture of the receipt for you so you can get an idea of how much it costs to eat out in Vienna. I got the Vienna Suppentopf, which is a classic Viennese beef-based soup, and I thought that was delicious. And then Jack had the Schnitzel, which I think is really expensive for what it is. It's essentially just breaded meat. One place we did find a cheap meal, however, was the Naschmarkt. So I'm not being funny, the Naschmarkt was really disappointing. It depends what you're going there for. I'm sure it's great if you're a local and you can take the produce home with you and cook it all up. Although if you're a local, are you going to go to such a tourist trap? I don't know. We were hoping for lots of lovely food stalls. I guess we were expecting kind of a German market, but it's more produce stalls, and there's actually loads of sit-down restaurants, which was not the vibe we were going for at all. In the end, we did find a bratwurst stand, which was exactly the sort of food that we felt like eating that day, and we just shared it between us, so I think it was about €6 or €7, so literally came to like €3.50 each for lunch. Okay, so that's 2 disappointments and 1 really tasty meal. Actually, 2 really tasty meals. I did really enjoy the bratwurst, even if I found the Naschmarkt to be a little bit meh. But let's raise the stakes now with some Kaiserschmarrn. Oh my god, this is a sweet treat that you definitely have to try if you're in Vienna. It's so simple, it's basically just pancakes that they've kind of cut up and put some powdered sugar on, some sort of lovely drizzly, fruity, jammy sauce. Oh my god, it was absolutely delicious. They serve it warm. We had it at night when we just had a lovely meal. We had it in place of dessert at the restaurant that we'd been to. We are definitely not in a budget-friendly restaurant now, guys. But oh my god, look at it. Isn't it the most Instagrammable thing? If you like looking at beautiful things, just go to Vienna. Everything is stunning. Even the McDonald's was stunning. But Onyx Bar's biggest selling point is obviously that it has this view of St. Stephen's Cathedral, and it's especially pretty at night. I was so convinced that this guy was going to propose to his girlfriend. It's such a fancy setting and he'd bought her flowers, but if they did get engaged, then it must have happened after we left. The food was so tasty. It was mainly sushi and we had some miso soup as well. It was very expensive, but I think it's a nice place to go for a date night if you do want to have like one slap up meal while you're on your city break. It is quite hard to get pictures of the cathedral through the windows because they've annoyingly got these like bars over them, but there is a balcony that they let you go out and take pictures from. Absolutely terrifying. I'm quite scared of heights, but we did get some lovely footage. One thing I will say about Vienna, you will not get bored. There is so much to do, and there's quite a lot of free stuff as well, considering it can be quite an expensive city. We already know that we can get a beautiful view of St. Stephen's Cathedral from Onyx Bar, but you can also go inside the cathedral for free and you don't have to spend money on overpriced Japanese food. Although, like I said, it was really tasty. One way that you can experience this incredible city for free is simply to walk around. You can enjoy views of its beautiful architecture without spending a penny. Vienna is like an open air museum with breathtaking architecture at every turn. There is just so much to admire. It's literally like you're stepping into a postcard. I swear it's impossible to take a bad picture of a building in Vienna because they're just all so pretty. Once when I was in London, I saw someone's phone snatched off them by a guy going past on a motorbike. And I think this is something that people have been talking about a lot lately because apparently it's all over TikTok. But honestly, at no point in Vienna did I worry about people snatching my phone while I was taking pictures or using Google Maps to get around. It really felt like the safest city that I've probably ever been to. Obviously, I was with Jack and we don't tend to go out that late either. But it did just feel really safe. And I even said to Jack that if I was going to ever do a solo trip, I would probably choose Vienna. I think it would be a really good place for lone female travellers to visit. It just felt so safe. Of course, don't take my word for it. You should, of course, always be cautious. And if you know that you will have your phone out a lot, maybe get one of those straps that you can get. But I do think that's more important somewhere like London than it is in Vienna. We really wanted to experience Vienna's rich musical heritage while we were there, and you can obviously go to the opera or you can pay to go and see a classical concert at Schönbrunn, which I'm sure would be absolutely wonderful. However, whether you are on a budget or not, I would highly recommend going to see a free classical concert in one of Vienna's churches. We went to St. Peter's Church. Okay, arguably it's not completely free because the idea is that you leave a donation at the end, but it's just such a beautiful, unique way to immerse yourself in the classical music. We got one day with some really sunny weather, and Jack had heard about these wild European hamsters that you can find in the cemeteries in Vienna. Apparently they like to eat the wax from the little red candles that people leave at the graves. So we went on a hunt for them. Unfortunately, we didn't see any, but it was a lovely peaceful walk around the cemetery anyway. And some of the graves in the cemetery were just incredible, like mini buildings, some of them. And we didn't actually realise until we were already in the cemetery that it's actually the one where Beethoven is buried. We've already spoken about how beautiful Vienna's architecture is, and it's especially exciting when you can go inside and have a look around. But unfortunately, for the most part, you are going to have to pay for this privilege. The most obvious thing to do in Vienna is to visit the many galleries and museums. There are so many that I missed out on because I just didn't have the budget to do everything, and this is definitely something that I would prioritise next time. I would definitely prioritise things to do over things to eat, which is kind of the opposite of most of my trips, if I'm honest with you. This little elephant was outside the Natural History Museum, and he was just so cute. I had to pose with him. I didn't go inside because I've been to several natural history museums, but Jack, my husband, is really into them, so he went in, and while he was in there, I went to the Imperial Treasury. This is a museum that I didn't even know existed before I went to Vienna. I was actually planning to go to the art gallery opposite the Natural History Museum, which is the Kunsthistorische Museum. Be careful how you say that. But as I was waiting in a fairly long queue and realising that it was about €22 to enter, I thought, you know what, I find art galleries a little bit dull once I'm actually in them. And I started having a little look for other things around that I might be more interested in, and I found the Imperial Treasury, and I think that was less than €15, and I think it was well worth it. Obviously, it is full of beautiful crown jewels. It has some apparently religious relics, but something that really stood out to me was this portrait of Emperor Francis I of Austria. I've never seen a historical painting, like an oil painting of a person, where they look so realistic. It really blew me away, actually. I know I keep going on about Vienna's architecture, but the nice thing about these museums and galleries is that not only are the items that you're going to see so beautiful, but the buildings that you're in are stunning as well. The Imperial Treasury had these really gorgeous ceilings. Oh, and something else that I thought was really, really cool, and I don't really understand why it was in the Treasury and not in the Natural History Museum. They actually had a narwhal horn, which I just thought was really interesting. It was on the wall as a unicorn horn, so I was baffled for a minute. And then I saw that it was actually a narwhal tusk, and I just thought that was mental. Jack did say that the Natural History Museum was really, really good as well, so I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't go in the end, and I would definitely visit if I were to go to Vienna again in the future. Guys, if you knew me, if you knew the phobia that I have had my entire life of anything with more than 4 legs. You would not believe the difference in me now. I had some really successful therapy in London for my arachnophobia specifically, but it has really helped with my fear of all creepy crawlies. And now I absolutely love butterfly houses. I used to be really frightened of butterflies as well. People find that really weird, but they were just gross bugs with wings to me. And I now love them. I had such a nice time in the butterfly house in Vienna, or the Schmetterlinghaus. It's right by all the galleries and museums that I just mentioned. It's right next to Hofburg. And it's really, really reasonably priced. It's about €7 from what I remember. It's definitely less than 10. And it's really well done. Most butterfly houses are just like a rectangular room and the butterflies are around you and you just walk in a circle. But this had bits that you could climb up and have a little look over at the butterflies, and little tree trunks that you could go into. It was just much more interactive than most butterfly houses that I've been to. So we're sticking with the animal portion of the video for a while. And the aquarium is a really good alternative to paying to go up St. Stephen's Cathedral to get a view of the city. As I mentioned earlier, the cathedral is free to enter, but you have to pay to enter different parts of the cathedral. So you can look around the main bit, but you have to pay to climb up the tower. And there's some caves as well, I think, that you can pay to look around. But if you pay around €22 to enter the Haus Des Meeres, the aquarium, you're not only getting that viewpoint because it is a really tall building, but you're also getting a little bit more value for your money. You get the zoo and the aquarium experience, and there is a restaurant at the top as well if you want to eat and look out over the city. You also get a really nice view of the cathedral from that high viewpoint. I don't know if you know, but my husband is famously into fish, so we do visit a lot of aquariums when we go on city breaks. And I thought this was one of the best that we visited. Jack actually wasn't that impressed. I thought it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. We also went there a tiny bit spontaneously. We were planning to go there at some point, but we actually found that it was a very short walk from the cafe where I had the Suppentopf, that really nice beef soup. So if you do want to visit that cafe, which I felt was a little bit more authentic and not such a tourist trap, then this might be something nice to combine with the aquarium. So Schönbrunn Palace and Zoo. This comes up a lot on lists of free things to do in Vienna. And yes, you could walk onto site and look at the fountain and look at the exterior of the palace. But to be honest, there's not really a lot to look at for free. You wouldn't be able to fill your time very long because you have to pay separately for all these extra bits. You have to pay for the palace, then for the zoo, you have to pay for the maze. There was a big greenhouse, like a tropical house, I think they called it the palm house. You had to pay for that as well. And Schönbrunn is a little bit further out. You're unlikely to be able to just walk there from your accommodation unless you're not staying in the centre of Vienna. So I really don't know why it comes up on all these lists of things that you can do for free. I mean, yeah, you could walk in and have a look at the fountain, but that's going to pass like 5 minutes of your day. One thing that a lot of people said online was that you do have to set aside an entire day to visit Schönbrunn. I was dubious because we decided not to pay to go into the actual palace. We decided to just pay to go into the zoo. And actually, even for just the zoo, we needed like 4 or 5 hours. It's the oldest zoo in the world. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's about €27 to enter, so quite expensive. But there is a lot to see. I don't regret paying that money at all. There are so many cute animals. The koala bears were so adorable. And I really love the sloths because they just climb all around you. They're like out in the open. So that was a really lovely experience. It felt very intimate. One of my favourite things as well was the elephants, because when we got there, we saw someone washing them and they kept getting them to like put their little foot up so that they could get underneath. And it was like when I asked my dog to shake a paw, it was so cute. Can you imagine if your job was to wash elephants? How amazing would that be? And finally, another way to while away the hours in Vienna is to indulge in some retail therapy. I don't really go shopping much on city breaks because I'm usually with Jack, like he's not really that interested in a whole day of shopping. But when we were near St. Stephen's Cathedral, we passed loads of shops, loads of designer shops, and also the more high street shops nearby as well. But it also seemed like a place where there were a lot of really cute independents. I obviously loved this shop that had the sausage dog theme. Oh my god, guys, I kept seeing the word Wiener everywhere, and I kept thinking it meant sausage, as in Wiener dog, and it took me so long to realise that it's Vienna, as in Vienna. So embarrassing. Okay, so we have gone through places to eat, places to visit, things that you can do for free. But how do you actually get around Vienna? Well, it's really easy. Their public transport system is so good and easy to understand. I am a Google Maps girl. I do find it to be so helpful whenever I'm visiting anywhere, whether it's in the UK or abroad. So I would just look at Google Maps, put in where I wanted to go to public transport and find the best route that way. And then it was really easy to work out which tram we needed. You would just look for the number, see what the final destination was so that you obviously know it's going the right way, and then just stay on there until you get to your stop. So you can buy the ticket beforehand, or you can buy it on the tram or the S-Bahn or U-Bahn, but you must validate it beforehand. When you buy it on the actual S-Bahn, it does say validate now, so you can just do it when you're buying the ticket, but some of the kiosks you had to do that separately afterwards. You had to like push it in somewhere to make it stamp it. Just to know, if you're traveling to or from the airport, you would need to buy the ticket beforehand. You can't buy it on the actual train. Now, normally when I visit other countries, I do try to avoid public transport. I prefer to just walk everywhere. It's basically so I can save money for food. However, I wouldn't say that Vienna is an especially walkable city. I don't mean that it's not good for pedestrians. It is very good for pedestrians. The drivers are very respectful, and as long as you're crossing appropriately, they don't get annoyed with you like they do in a lot of places. And the paths are quite wide. You're not like pressed up against buildings while cars are rushing past you. However, it's just a big place, and a lot of the attractions are not that close to each other. We did find that we just needed to get the U-Bahn for a lot of it. I mean the S-Bahn actually. I think the U-Bahn is the underground one, and I think we only really got that on the way to and from the airport, and the S-Bahn is the overground one, which is what we got most of the time. So I probably ended up spending more than I had planned to on public transport for this trip. I heard about the weekly ticket beforehand, but I never bother with those because I do normally walk so much, but I think it would have been worth it for this week in Vienna. However, there are no barriers, and at no point did anyone check our ticket. So I would never condone trying to sneak onto public transport for free, but I'm just going to leave that information there. Well, that's a wrap on my guide to Vienna. I hope these tips have helped you to plan your trip to Vienna a little bit more easily, from must-see sites and budget-friendly eats to navigating the public transport like a pro. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more travel tips and of course my usual lifestyle content, and feel free to share your own experiences or questions in the comments below. I would love to hear where you're travelling to next. Oh, and if you got this far, leave me a little elephant emoji in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.